Hi, this is Jim with Glitter and Stone Templates. Just making a quick video on how to set up a design to cut within StoneCut Pro. So first thing I guess would be the view. You can look at images wholly as they are. I prefer to look at things in wireframe mode. So if you just go to view, you can tick on contour view and it will actually show you your cut lines. That way you can make sure things aren't overlapping, you don't have anything crazy going on in the design before it's cut. So first thing you want to do is get your working area set up correctly, or basically the size of your vinyl. So you'd right click anywhere on your page. You're going to go to working area and left click, and it'll bring up this dialog box here. As you can see right now, things aren't quite right. You've got a 43-inch width and a 56-inch height. What we're going to do with your material loaded into your cutter and your cutter on, you should just be able to hit read from connected device, and you can see here that the value's changed. Now the height box is actually the width of your vinyl. So since this is a glitter roll, after pinch rollers and everything else, you have 18.633 cuttable inches off of that 19-inch roll. And then the width would be like the length of the roll. So, for instance, 10 yards, 20 yards, whatever. I always start out just cutting 1 yard at a time. So I just change it to 36 inches and hit enter. If when I start cutting, I realize that it's tracking really well, and I'm going to be able to make longer runs, then I would just make my page bigger at that point, copy and paste or make a duplicate of the images so that the sheet is longer, and then, it will cut for more time. So the first thing then, once you get your work area set up, is you're going to take your design, bring it over onto your page, and I always mirror first. Just that way I know it's done before we do anything else. So make sure your design is highlighted. Right click on your design and hit weed border. That's going to add a weed box around your entire design. And then what I always do is drag it down to this lower left hand corner. And then I use the arrow keys on my keyboard. I normally give it like 3 to the right. I go 3 up. That way we're off this line here. If you go all the way to the end of the page, sometimes I found that my cutter won't cut one line of the weed box, or a part of a design is missing. So I always come a little bit off of the page lines. And then to get this to actually set up to cut an entire page, you can go to Edit. You can go to Multi-Copy, and you want to make sure your design is still selected. So again, you go to the edit menu at the top, go to multi-copy, and if you hadn't had this set up this way before, you'll have some numbers up at the top here, copies X, copy Y, and it will give you some directional arrows. So I have mine set up where the Y-axis is going to go up, and the X-axis is going to go over to the right. So basically what we're trying to do is fill our page. If you can really change this to anything that you want. It will probably look way different when you start anyways. This offset X and offset Y, that's how much space you want between each design. I always give myself 0.1 inch on a Y offset. That way I've got some room to actually cut my designs apart, and that's going to be the spacing of the designs from the bottom to the top of the page. So there will be a 0.1 inch space in between those designs. And then my offset X, I always do at 0.3 inches. That way I've got enough room to actually cut each sheet off of the cutter to separate. So if you click this Fill Working Area button, you can see here at the top, now the value's changed again. It can fit 4 designs going up, and it can fit 4 designs going over. So you would just click OK, and now it filled your entire sheet. There's a little bit of excess up here, so you can make it easier on yourself to separate the designs by giving yourself a little more room. So you can select those, just hit your up arrow a couple times, select some more, hit your up arrow a couple times, select some more, hit your up arrow a couple times, and now you've given yourself room to cut more, and you are taking up the entire sheet of vinyl, so you really won't have any waste. At this point, you just want to make sure that the entire selection is highlighted. You're going to go over here to your cut objects, and it will tell you that you're going to output to your cutter. You can change your pressure settings and things in here. I normally cut glitter between 145 and 165. 50 speed. I never go over a 50 speed on glitter. And then it will also, your material width is in here. Now the length in this screen doesn't matter, so you don't have to worry about that at all. But the material width, you want to make sure you hit read material so that it actually changes to the material width that's loaded into your cutter at that point in time. And then after that, you can hit output, and it will go ahead and start cutting. One thing that I should mention is normally by default, and I have this turned off in my software, there's this weed border option here that is selected. I always deselect that because what it's going to want to do is it's going to want to cut these 16 images, and then it's going to want to put a weed box around all 16 images. And what can happen when you do that is if your tracking is just a little bit off, you're going to end up with, a cut going through your design, which might slice an image and make it unusable. That's the reason why I put each design in its own weed box. That way I don't have to worry about this weed border. So if this is selected and you don't want to use it, then just untick it and then go ahead and hit your output, and you should be all set. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a great day.